So guys, welcome to the Monster Hunter World beta. Thought I'd maybe do a little review for you guys. As you can see, this is pretty much an RPG. You can customize it as to your liking. These guys are like your, I guess you could call them your henchmen, cats, obviously. And then, yeah, no, in the full game, you can customize them a little bit more. They just got presets for this thing at the moment, for the beta, and they just help you fight the monsters. If you don't know what Monster Hunter is, it's pretty much a game where you hunt monsters. You're hunters that go out into the world. You get contracts to find and fight these different types of, they look like giant dinosaurs. You then carve them up after you've killed them and make pretty cool armor. And here's where this journal is obviously where you pick your contract based on beginner, intermediate, or expert. You choose a start location and then you go for it. In this mode, I'm currently playing multiplayer. You can choose either multiplayer or single player. In this instance, I tried the multiplayer part, where you just join some random guys, up to 4 people, and you all sort of try and take down a monster together. I don't think the locations have any real bearing on whether you find this monster or not. I just think if you spawn further, like I think they've got Ancient Forest Camp, that's probably further away than the others from where the monster might be, so it just might take you longer to find it, which brings me to one thing that I really don't quite enjoy about this game is that, and I don't know whether it's going to be in the full version, but you got 20 minutes to find and kill the monster, instead of having unlimited time where you could just roam around looking for this monster. You're actually timed to try and take it down, which is obviously a little bit more challenging if it's the bigger the monster. For the purpose of the beta, I think they've given us fully leveled characters. You have a selection of any of the armors. Each different armor set has different bonuses. It gives you like resistance against electricity and fire and water and stuff. I've just got a mix on currently. They also have given you full access to all the items and foods and stuff. I think the purpose of that is just so that you could just jump into the game straight away and pretty much have fun playing it and seeing whether you like it. For me, I kind of found that because everything was unlocked already, it got kind of boring quite quickly, because there's nothing really to grind for. In the full game, you would obviously start at level 1 with none of this gear that I'm currently selecting here. You would actually have to go out, kill some stuff, and build these pieces of armor, which, to my understanding, actually takes a fair amount of time. And then, which is, I guess, the attraction to the game. This is only a limited selection that you get. There is a lot more that you can choose from in the full game. As well as for your Palico, your cat, you can equip him with armor and weapons, and each weapon he has and piece of armor, whatever, provides different bonuses and different special utilities that he can use. What's cool is the AI is actually pretty good for this Palico. You'll see further on in the review, when I take on the second monster, he actually summons his little cat minions to hold down the monster. He blinds the monster for you, so they're actually pretty cool. You don't have to control him. He does it all himself. There's also a huge weapon selection. I think they said there's 17 different types of weapons, or 15 different types of weapons, each completely different. They all do different varying amounts of damage to different creatures and stuff. At the moment, I've got this it's like a sword and shield, but you can, no, it's not, sorry, it's no, it's a sword and shield, and you can put the sword into the shield and it turns it into a giant axe, which you'll see me do later on in the clip. I've kind of, for the purpose of the video, just chopped it a little bit. The loading screens are quite long, it's about a minute per, and I didn't think that would be any fun to watch. So, yeah. So this is a starting rest camp. It's where you start with all your characters. Here you can eat food to provide bonuses to your stats and stuff. You can also work on crafting your weapons. In the full game, as far as I know, there are towns where you can walk in and there's no time limit. So you can just walk around to your leisure and craft your weapons and explore and stuff like that. Also, to my understanding, in the full game you can actually walk around in this open world and where there's no time limit. I'm not sure whether the quests, when you take a quest, whether those are specifically time limit. To my thinking they are, but that also might be for the purposes of this beta that they've given you only a limited amount of time to check out things. As you can see, these are other multiplayers. There's not a lot of lag. I got a 10 meg line, so I didn't experience anything terrible. It was pretty much fine. Yeah, we found the monster. Those little green flower things appear when you pick up like their track. So you actually have to like track the monsters, and once you pick up a certain amount of stuff, you manage to find these guys. You can see here that I'm using the sword and shield. One of the other guys is using dual blades, dual swords. The other guy's using some sort of a gun, almost like a machine gun.
The monster is on the move. Use the scout flies as a guide as you go after.
There's where I turned the shield sword into a giant axe. If you saw that. But you can set it like that permanently, and then you have a permanent shield and axe. So one of the cool things about this game is that you don't actually have health bars on the monsters. The only way you can tell that you're actually defeating this monster is by monitoring how he behaves. You'll see like he'll start bleeding from different parts, or you'll chop off his tail, or he starts getting tired. That's the only way you know whether you're gaining any traction on defeating the enemy, which is quite cool. I really like the weapons. When you have these big and heavy weapons, it actually almost feels like it has weight behind it. Your character sort of slows down, and you really feels chunky. But when you actually hit the creature, you really feel like you're making a real dent on this guy, which is actually pretty cool. Obviously, this is my first sort of mission, so sorry for the noobishness. I was hitting nothing and trying to figure out the controls. There is a training area which I did explore very briefly to try and check all the weapons and which weapons I enjoyed. I quite like this one, as well as the bow, like a staff that shoots insects out of it. You'll see me playing that later on. But there's many others. There's like a bow and arrow, and like a gun that you can shoot with automatic bullets. You can change its weapon type, its ammo type. It does different types of damage and stuff. So when you follow these bugs, they lead you to the creature, because they do run off and do their own thing. What's also quite cool is that in this open world you'll have all these other monsters like this. If they get like pissed off with this guy, they might end up attacking him, which is quite cool. Someone put down a shocking mine, which has paralyzed it. Smoke him. Dealing some huge damage on this guy with that axe. check, his tail's starting to get like bruised. He's starting to, you can see he's starting to get much weaker now. He's bleeding on the side there.
Look, the monster's almost done for. Chances are it will treat his master.
Yeah. So, very cool game. I really like how the damage representation. The selection of weapons is so awesome. There we go. Defeated the guy. Now you have your chance to cut him up, take some of his ingredients or whatever. And
Congrats!
in the full game, you obviously, if you hadn't hunted this guy before, you'd obviously take the Jagras materials, and then you would build his armor, or special armor, called the Jagras armor, or whatever it is. I think I'm wearing a piece of it somewhere. But yeah, that's the gist of it. You know, you run around, find these big monsters, chop them up, and then you make cool armor. For the next part, it'll be on my own. I just wanted to try the single player side of things. So it's not, you're not restricted to multiplayer. You have the choice of playing single player.
That's awesome.
I'm not too sure whether you need to be online for that though. So here I have the, I think it's a forest armor they call it. I'm just gathering track stuff to try and find my monster. I'd already been searching for about 3 or 4 minutes. And then I found him. He's this giant thing. Shut myself a bit when I saw him. This weapon was really cool. It's like a glaive that shoots that little bug out, and it steals stamina from him to keep you attacking much longer. This fight is obviously took me a little bit longer because I was on my own, and he has like these armor plates all over his body. And he shoots out this mud that you get stuck in. It gets so frustrating because he just like bulldozes you. You can also jump on their backs and then start stabbing at them. It was quite fun. It does pretty serious damage on him as well.
Okay, it's down. Now's your chance to get in there and tear it up.
So I'm bouncing off him like that because his head was actually made of stone, which I only realized now. So as you can see, like each monster's a little different. They've got their different abilities and stuff like that. This guy's obviously earth-based, so you probably want armor that has a lot of resistance against earth-type attacks. You can see he's bleeding from the mouth there, which means I did some serious damage on his head.
Your health is low. Keep your distance.
Just out there.
Taking hits like that repeatedly will stun you.
So if you check on the right hand side of the screen, there's little flashing things. That was actually put there by the cat, the palico, which stuns the creature. I call them Douglas. So Douglas is chilling down there. He's shooting. I don't know what he's shooting at him. They look like bowlers to try and paralyze the creature. But I did equip him with a bow, so he's more of a long distance support, shooting arrows at him for me. So I was trying to bolt on this thing's back the whole time to try and deal some of that serious damage on his back. I just wasn't landing. You'll see later in the fight there's this other monster, water-based monster, that actually ends up helping me do some serious damage on this guy before I finally take him out, which is really cool. It's this dynamic, almost like dynamic intervention. Obviously I didn't plan to do anything, but it really helped out, which is pretty cool. But I guess you could also make your fights a lot harder, concentrating on fighting this guy. But what he is, a catapult, like a literal catapult. It's in the shape of a cat. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that was a 15-minute limit for recording. So Yeah, no, this is really cool. I actually, you can see he's bleeding from his mouth there. So, well, I was under the impression that I was doing some serious damage on this guy. And not to forget that Douglas is also obviously attacking this guy. He's got like a mini catapult that he brings out and stuff, which is very awesome. Yeah, so as I was saying, there's a lot of inventory items. You can also use potions,
You can use jump attacks to mount
different types
monsters.
of cloaks that can add to your bonuses and stuff. They also like cover your scent and all that kind of stuff, so that the monsters don't know where you are, which is pretty cool. But I had no idea how to use those. I was just, button mashing at this time. So, as you can see, my cat's got some sort of,
and then use a wetsuit.
I don't know what he's chucking at him. Looks like a boomerang or something. But I set him up like that. I don't know if I mentioned it. He can have, there's like this axe thing. So he can do relay attacks, and he also has ranged attacks, which I'm setting up. And if you saw, he put down that little basket with the light, and that actually stuns the guys. I know I mentioned it before, but there was options for me to put other utilities items that I would really use.
Yeah, you've mounted the monster.
Mounting again.
Now's your chance to topple it.
Going it up in his gear. So as you can see here, Douglas has called all his cat pals, and they've put some sort of mines on them to hold them down. This would have been perfect for me to use the range or explosive attacks or something to just do some serious damage, but I don't know, for some reason I kept hitting a really hard part of this guy, and I didn't pretty much wasted that whole time there. It's quite cool as well. You can see there Douglas thanks a million because I didn't call him. He does it. The AI does it completely on its own, which is quite cool. It's just one less thing to worry about. You can see on the left of the creature's
The
leg
monster
there,
is on the
starting to
move.
go white, which
Use the
means
scout
that
flies as a
I was
guide
doing
as you
some
go
serious
after him.
damage on his leg.
This
which
should
is
work
cool.
as slinger ammo. They're good for stunning monsters.
So the slinger is almost like your slingshot. If you see on the left of my arm there, it's like a little crossbow, and you can shoot like tracker darts and explosives and that kind of thing. There's that sea monster thing I was talking about
That's not
earlier.
our target. We gotta stay focused on
What I
what's
quite like
important.
about this is the scene changes. Like as your battle goes on, the creatures run away from you, and the scenery changes quite always, which actually changes sort of the environment that you have to fight in. It can make it harder, but at least it makes it more interesting. You can see Douglas there swimming around in the raft, because obviously he's too small. He can jump in the waters. So I think I read somewhere that those insects, you can have steal life from the monster and then it comes back to you. Or in this case for me, the steal stamina, and you need stamina to obviously do your attacks and to run and that kind of thing. There you can see he's limping, so at this point I was like, okay cool, this thing is almost dead. Like I said before, you don't see a health bar, so you need to look out for these kind of telltale signs that you actually seriously want to lose. And then as we've seen before, this is an earth type monster. He's going straight for the mud. So I think this is where he enjoys being. I didn't know that though. But, fighting in the mud is actually pretty difficult. You can get stuck, you can get different status afflictions on you, you obviously can't move as fast. I was really disadvantaged at this point. You'll also see that with this cool glaive that I'm using, I figure out that you can actually air burst in air and move around and do cool attacks while in the air, which is quite cool. It's quite cool for mobility. You can see the bugs coming back to me. So guys, obviously, as you know, like from level 1, you won't have all this cool gear, you won't have all the weapons. You actually need to kill the monsters to build these weapons and the armor and all that kind of stuff. So it will take time to get all this kind of stuff, which I guess, you know, makes the game last a little longer. And you can, for the purpose of the beta, you only get 3 monsters to fight. The Jugras, which was that lizard thing, and then this thing, and then there's another one, the Anjanath, which is a big T-Rex. I haven't found that just yet.
That's gonna put a damper on your stamina.
I just wanted to get used to the controls and stuff. So, I guess at this point I was like, okay, I've got like less than 5 minutes to try and take this thing out. I really didn't think I'd be able to beat this guy. And unfortunately, something really good happens about now. See on the left side of his leg, it's all white. You saw earlier he was limping on that leg for some reason. So okay, now he's rolled, but through his tail there on the right hand side, there's that big slug monster. So these guys just decided to fight each other. I didn't know this at the time.
Maybe we can use this to our advantage.
And then that happened. He just got taken out. So Douglas putting down his little trap there. He didn't care. Douglas was just like, no, I'm gonna take a circle out. That was it. Managed to kill him. 30 seconds left. And then I had to roll.
Alright, you completed the quest.
Fortunately, it didn't kill me. But yeah. So guys, that's pretty much my review of this Monster Hunter beta, Monster Hunter World beta. It's coming out next year, March. Feb, March, I think it is. I'm quite excited for it. I think it'll be actually quite a cool time sink. I like that there's multiplayer and single player. You know, you're not limited to either. And if you're into RPG games, or JRPG as they call it, Japanese RPG, this is definitely a title to look at in the new year. Thanks so much, guys.